So as we continue on in Good Friday, unpacking the whole experience that Jesus is going through, it's getting to this place where he's led to Pilate, and this exchange that takes place in John chapter 19. We'll read it together and then take a few minutes to reflect on it. John 19, starting in verse 1. Then Pilate took Jesus and had him flogged. The soldiers twisted together a crown of thorns and put it on his head. They clothed him in a purple robe and went up to him again and again, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they slapped him on the face. Once more Pilate came out and said to the Jews that were gathered there, "Look, I'm bringing him out to you to let you know that I find no basis for a charge against him." When Jesus came out wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe, Pilate said to them, "Here is this man." As soon as the chief priests and their officials saw him, they shouted, "Crucify! Crucify!" But Pilate answered, "You take him and crucify him. As for me, I find no basis for a charge against him." The Jewish leaders insisted, "We have a law, and according to that law he must die, because he claimed to be the Son of God." When Pilate heard this, he was even more afraid. He went back inside to the palace. "Where do you come from?" he asked Jesus, but Jesus gave no answer. "Do you refuse to speak to me?" Pilate asked. "Don't you realize I have the power either to free you or to crucify you?" And Jesus answered, "You would have no power over me if it were not given to you from above. Therefore, the one who handed me over to you is guilty of a greater sin." From then on, Pilate tried to set Jesus free, but the Jewish leaders kept shouting, "If you let this man go, you are no friend of Caesar. Anyone who claims to be a king opposes Caesar." When Pilate heard this, he brought Jesus out and sat down on the judge's seat at a place known as the stone pavement. "Here is your king," Pilate said to the Jews. But they shouted, take him away, crucify him." "Shall I crucify your king?" Pilate asked. "We have no king but Caesar," the chief priest answered. And finally, Pilate handed him over to be crucified. So take a minute, just sit with what's transpiring, what's unfolding. It's heavy to think about. The reality of what that must have been like for Jesus to be in that moment. You can hear the tension in Pilate's voice. You can hear the vitriol in the leaders who are calling for him to be crucified. And Jesus knows where this is going. And yet he doesn't stop it. He leans into this moment, and I think in a lot of ways he's thinking of you, he's thinking of me, knowing that it's his brokenness and his death and his sacrifice that is the only way it's going to set things right for us to have a real relationship with God, one of true forgiveness. So as we continue to reflect on Good Friday, remembering all that Jesus endured, all that he went through, we're arriving toward the cross. As we said, it's heavy to think about. I think it shows the extent and the depth of the love of our Savior, and the love that he has for you, and the love that he has for me, that he would go through all of this for us. So as you continue to lean into Good Friday, maybe take a moment and offer up a prayer of thanksgiving, maybe a moment to contemplate and reflect. Click the link below to listen to another worship song, and let that continue to expand your opportunity as you reflect here. And then join us again in the next video to come.